Alright, we're back to Chapter 3, Video 17. We're going to talk about the math function. And in this example, we've got a little trig calculator with tangent, cosine, sine, and pi. And I've gone ahead and I've actually typed out the code because I don't want to spend a lot of video time going over repetitive type of material. So let's just go and explain this now that we have a basic understanding of how the DACO model works. So we know we have to declare because we're going to have a variable that we're going to be typing a value in here. Let's say it's 30. And we're going to keep track of the number, and again I'm going to declare it as a double type, and I'm also going to keep track of the tan, the answer. Alright, the tangent. So next step would be to assign and convert the data. Now this one here you can see it's a little more complicated and it's a formula. And we're going to be using what they call the math class in this example. So basically whatever you type in, if it was 30, we want to take that 30 and we want to parse it into a number, a double number, so that we can use it in a calculation. If we don't do that, we can't calculate it because you may remember that everything gets typed into here gets typed in as a string. So if we typed in 30 and we parse it into a 30, that becomes 30. We multiply it by this block right here. We know bed mass, we have to perform the calculation inside here before we multiply it over here. So the word math is a class, and inside that class we've got lots of different mathematical calculations. And in calculating the tangent, we have to use the math class, and we have to take pi and we have to divide it by 180, multiply it by that 30. That'll give us the number that we want. And then once we've got the number, we can use a second calculation. The second calculation again is the tangent. And again, this is another method that's inside of the math class. So we'll take whatever that number happens to be and we'll pass it into the method here called the tan of the math class, come up with an answer, and we'll put it inside of the tan. Once we've done that, we've got our answer. All we have to do is take the answer, convert it to a string, and output the results. All right, so let's do a debug on this one. I'm going to start the debugger at this line right here, and let's click Start. Let's compile the program, and I am going to type in a value of 30 and click on tangent. As soon as I do that, let's go in, and it comes back with some kind of error. So I'm going to say yes to all. All right, and let's take a look. We know we typed in 30. It'll convert it. This whole line right here is going to actually convert it from a string 30 to a number 30. It's going to take the pi, and it's going to divide it by 180 and comes up with this long number here, multiply that with 30. So when I push F11, that number is actually going to come up with something like the tangent. It's going to come up with a number that we're going to use in the tangent. All right, so then we pass that number down here and we basically perform the tangent method from the math class, and that then is passed into the tan. So the tan is 0.5773 is the tangent of 30. And basically from there we just output the results. So you can see here, again, we've used an example of, well in this case we've used an example of a math class. Let me just shut that down. And which is right here. We've actually used two examples of that. So we've got a math class we use for calculating pi, and we've used a method here called tan, part of the math class, as other examples of how we can use mathematical calculations. All right, so from there, cosine and sine are virtually the same thing. We could actually just cut all of this and paste it, just change tan to cos and type cos, and we might have to modify the formula. In fact, I have to look up to make sure that the cosine formula is actually the same. All right, other than that, I'll come back and we'll finish off with our pi, and I think that'll be getting close to the end.